Chapter 6, the integumentary system. Alright. The introduction. The integumentary system is made up of the hair, nails, organ system, and our cutaneous gland. The integumentary system is one of the largest organ systems in the body. It's our first line of defense against microorganisms that can gain access to our body through trauma to our skin or broken skin. The skin is most vulnerable to exposure to radiation, temperatures, extreme hot, cold chemicals, and infection. The science of study of skin diseases are referred to as dermatologists. So they look at the integumentary system. Alright, this slide just shows you some of the things that you should get out of this lecture. The skin, the subcutaneous tissue. Now remember, we have two layers of skin, the epidermis and the dermis. Below the dermis is the hypodermis, and that's where we give injections. And below that, we're into the internal aspects of the body. Alright, figure 6.1 is a diagram of skin. You can see the hair, bud, the shaft. You can see the capillaries. You can see the hypodermis or the adipose tissue. You also can see the nerves and your sweat gland, your hair follicle. The hair goes from the dermis all the way through the epidermis to the outer layer of the skin. You have your sweat pools. So again, learn this diagram, learn the location of the different nerve endings, because this allows us to interpret hot, cold, tickle, itch. You can see the muscle, the pili erecti muscle, and this is the muscle that allows the hair to stand up when you get goosebumps or when you feel something like maybe crawling on you. Alright, again, the epidermis, stratified squamous. Remember from the last chapter, squamous is like a flat, irregular shaped cell. Stratified means more than one layer. Dermis is made up of connective tissue, and there's going to be two layers of tissue in the dermis. Hypodermis, mainly fat. Insulation is below the dermis. Thick skin has 5 layers. Thin skin has 4 layers. The thin skin is about 0.1 millimeters thick, where the thick skin is about 0.5. We got our sebaceous or our oil glands that helps to keep our hair oily, our skin oily, and also our sweat glands to help cool us off. Alright, facial expressions, function of the skin. It helps to protect us against the harmful ultraviolet rays. We talked about keratinized and non-keratinized tissue last time. Remember, keratinized is the tissue that acts as a waterproofing agent to keep our body from losing water, because you know when the skin gets real dry, it becomes real brittle and it cracks. It also has acid in it, and dermicin and defensin. Remember, our perspiration has antibodies in it to kill certain microorganisms. So it's again, it retards water loss, it protects us from UV and harmful chemicals. It also makes vitamin D that our body uses synthesize components of calcium to help with muscle contraction and bone disc. Alright, sensation, thermoregulation, nonverbal communication. Through facial expression, we can smile, we can frown. It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. Thermoregulation, vasodilation, vasoconstriction. So this allows our body to cool down when we're hot. It stimulates shivering when we're cold. We got touch receptors, pain receptors, vibration receptors, sense receptors associated with our skin. Again, the epidermis, keratinized, squamous, epithelial cells. The outermost layer has 25 to 30 layers of dead skin called the stratum corneum. The epidermis is like blood vessels. Mainly blood vessels are going to be supplied by the underlying connective tissue. Alright, we got spare nerve endings for us to sense touch and pain. Alright, remember, stem cells are undifferentiated cells, and these cells can give rise to keratinocytes as they mature. Now, the stratum basale is the deepest innermost layer of the epidermis. You got your keratinocytes, it makes keratin, and melanocytes, again, in pigmentation. It helps to protect us against the ultraviolet rays because the more we expose to sunlight, the darker our skin gets, and this is a protective barrier. Alright, again, tactile receptor cells associated with our dermal nerve fibers, they are also in the sternum basilar. Dendritic cells, these are our immune fighting cells. Macrophages, they come from the bone marrow, but they have to fight us against pathogens. And remember, pathogens are any type of microorganism that can cause a disease in a healthy individual. The macrophages can be found in the sternum granulosum and the sternum spinosum. Alright, if you look at figure 6.3, it shows you the 5 layers of skin. You got the sternum corneum, it's the outermost layer, 25 to 30 layers of dead skin. The sternum lucidum, that's the transparent layer. Now that layer is missing in thin skin, but it's present in thick skin, so when you see it, you know it's 5 layers. Then you got the sternum basilar. As you move in the sternum spinosum and into the sternum granulosum, you see the dendritic cells, and these contain specialized macrophages to help fight infection. See the stem cells, they're going to show some of the stages of mitosis. They are lined up at the equator, so therefore they are in anaphase. You got your tactile nerve fibers, you see your blood vessels associated with the dermis. You see your keratinocytes that are living between the sternum granulosum and the sternum spinosum. The sternum basilar, that's where you got your dividing cells, and as they move toward the outermost layer, they lose their ability to divide mitotically, so that's why the outermost layer contains dead tissue. And these are the ones that form calluses and corns based on pressure points. Alright, the sternum basilar, the innermost layer, has stem cells that divide. They give rise to the keratinocytes. They move on toward the outer surface. They contain melanocytes and tactile for sensation. The spinosum, again, it has keratinocytes with it. The desmosomes are those mesh-like spider webs that help to anchor things together, and tight junction to seal things off. Name for their appearance, they got spine, and when you look at them from a histological preparation, and because of the dendritic cells that are there that has macrophage capabilities. The sternum granulosum, again, 3 to 5 layers. It has keratin, hyaline, and granules. The lucidum is pale, only present in thick skin. Elegant is present there. And outermost layer, this is a protective against abrasion, water loss, and prevent things from entering the skin. Because again, the way for things to enter, the skin has to be broken down. But keep in mind, there are certain organisms that can penetrate the skin through absorption. Alright, the keratinocytes are produced by mitosis. Remember, mitosis as the body cells, the autosomes. You got 5 phases, where you got prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and then you got interphase is the beginning. So again, it requires nutrients, energy, oxygen, blood vessels, and remember the epidermis consists of avascular, so they get their blood supply from the underlying connective tissue of the dermis. Now again, the new keratinocytes, they are pushing the older ones out, so about 30 to 40 days to make new keratinocytes, but the cells that fall off or exfoliate or dander, they slough off. Again, calluses and corns, these are thick accumulation of this dead skin over bony prominence, like over the metatarsals or the metacarpals. Alright, 4 important events that takes place in the sternum granulosum. Alright, the keratin hyaline, they release filigrin, and this is a protein that binds the keratin to make the fibers much tougher. They produce protein beneath their membranes. They got membrane-coated vesicles to act as a waterproofing agent, and they help the organelles degenerate and the new cells die. The water barrier again keratinized cells, tight junction between the skin cells and the waterproofing that occurs in the stratum granulosum. So they help to prevent the body from undergoing dehydration. Now the dermis is made up of connective tissue. It can be anywhere from 0.2 to 4 millimeters. Now you see the thickest layer is on those parts of the body that deals with high impact areas like the palms of the hand and the soles of the feet. They have a good blood supply, nerve endings, your oil glands, and your sweat glands. Now the dermis has two layers, derma papillae, upward ridges like your finger-like extensions of the dermis, and the epidermal ridges that helps to make friction ridges or our fingerprints, and fingerprints are unique for every individual. Alright, papillary layer of the dermis, superficial zone allow for the movement of the leukocytes and other defense cells to protect the body. They have a rich blood supply of tiny vessels. The reticular layer, this is our stride where we get our stretch marks at. So this is collagen fibers that have stretched the skin either due to gaining weight or pregnancy. Alright, this is a picture of the dermis, a histological view, figure 6.5. Now remember, keep in mind of these things when you're in lab looking at the tissues. Alright, this is the hypodermis where you normally get your injections. They reserve for energy. They insulate. They're thick in women because they're childbearing, and they to protect the fetuses. Common site for drug injections. Pads for the body for cushion underlying tissues. Alright, melanin helps to produce skin color. Eumelanin, brownish black color. Pheomelanin, reddish yellow, sulfur containing drugs. The more exposure you are to sun, the darker the pigmentation of the skin gets. Melanin breaks down more slowly. The granulocytes are spread out in the keratinocytes, and the melanized cells, they seek to be present throughout the entire epidermal the layer. Lighter skinned people, they have little melanin, and it's seen beyond the stratum basal. So again, darker skin, like I say, the melanin breaks down much slower, so that pigmentation stays darker much longer. Now you know a lot of times people lighten up in the winter months because they are not exposed to the sun as often as during the summer months because the sun is not raised longer hours in the winter as it is in the summer. Alright, again, skin color. You got your stratum corneum, you got your epidermis. Look at the melanized cells here as compared to in the other picture between dark skin A and light skin B. Figure 6.6 AB. Alright, exposure to ultraviolet light stimulates melanin secretion and darkness of the skin. Again, the outermost layer is keratinized cell. So it's old dead cells that foliate. Now skin color can produce certain pigmentation like a yellowish hue in the stratum corneum, hemoglobin, reddish, pinkish color to the skin because of the blood supply. Alright, now when we look at the different colors, cyanosis is bluish discoloration. This can be due to the lack of oxygen. Erythema, increased blood flow, that a lot of times we can see with inflammation. Pallor, decreased blood flow, the paleness of the skin. Albinism, lack of pigmentation. Jaundice is a yellowish hue. It can be due to bilirubin in the blood, or it can be caused by liver dysfunctions or cirrhosis of the liver. And hematoma is a blood bruise under the skin or under the nail that occurs sometime when we traumatize our tissue or slam our nail in a door. Alright, the skin. Again, you look at the ultraviolet light. That can be harmful to skin. If you're exposed to UV rays, especially in if you're immunocompromised with things like diabetes or pulmonary issues, you shouldn't be out there, because prolonged exposure can cause skin cancer. It can break down folic acid that we need to help make red blood cells. It increases our vitamin D synthesis, which is a good thing. That's why certain exposure is good, but not overexposure. A lot of times, redhead, fair-skinned individuals that get sunburned as a child has a higher risk of getting skin cancer later on, right? Alright, again, the population that evolved at high altitudes or dry climates are exposed to less ultraviolet, so our skin they are more darker skinned. Vitamin D. When we see people that are far northern than the southern latitudes, weak sun, they have lighter skin, allow adequate UV light, right? And then we look at vitamin D, which is needed for pregnancy, lactation, also thickening of the bones. Alright, again, other exposure factors, we look at cultural differences in clothing, shelter, also depend on our geographical association with pigmentation of our skin. Sexual selection also determines the light or dark complexion of our skin also helps to determine our mates, because we have to look at the offsprings of the siblings that may be produced. Skin markings, again, flexion creases. If you look at your joints, at your elbow, you can look at the palm of your hands, at your wrist. You see people go to the palms to get their palms read, their lifelines. Not even identical twins have identical fingerprints, alright? So again, everyone has unique patterns or ridges on their skin. Freckles, these are flat, melanized patches. A mole is an elevated one. The only thing about moles, you have to watch them, make sure they don't change colors, increase in diameter, because this makes it just some type of skin cancer. Hemangiomas are birthmarks, alright? Some disappear in childhood, but some are carried on into adulthood. They can be called cavernous hemangiomas, port wine, or capillary hemangiomas. Alright, let's look at nails. Nails play an important role because they're made of either hard or soft keratin. Alright, so again, this is an appendage that serves a purpose. Hair helps to protect our scalp, our skin. It helps us to cool us off, help us from losing heat. Think about football players that play football in the wintertime when it's real cold. They lose a lot of heat coming off the top of their head or their dome. Again, so hair is very important. Hair, like our eyebrows, our eyelashes, they help to divert sweat and perspiration out our faces, and then it stimulates a blink reflex to keep things from really aggravating our face. So again, the pliable soft keratin makes up the stratum corneum of the skin, and the hard keratin makes up our hair and our nails. Alright, pillows is the name for hair, pilli or pillows, plural. Again, hair follicles, it covers most of our body surfaces. We don't have them on the palms of our hand, the soles of our feet, palm or plantar surfaces. Lips can have it, nipples sometimes, parts of the genitalia. We have about 100,000 hairs on the average scalp per person. The difference in the coarse, texture, and all can be genetically or culturally determined. Alright, lanugo is fine downy, unpigmented hair. We see these in fetuses less than 3 months of age. Villus, pale hair that replaces laguno by the time of birth. Alright, so we're looking at 2/3 of the hair of women, 1/10 of that of men. Terminal hair, this is long coarse hair, eyelashes, eyebrows, pubic hair, axillary hair. Alright, figure 6.78 just shows you the shaft of the hair, the bulb. You see the nerve endings around there, your erectile pili muscle. You see your blood supply that feeds that. You need the root, you got receptors, you got your oil glands, and this is very important because a lot of times when your scalp is real dry, you don't oil it, your hair tends to become more brittle and breaks off. Alright, this is the derma papillae, a histological view that shows it, and your matrix with your growth center that has the metallically active dividing cell. Alright, you got three layers, the medulla, your cortex, and your cuticle, or your free edge around your nails. Again, the cortex, several layers of your keratinocyte cells, and then the medulla with air space. And you see that's kind of important. When you look at gray hair, things like that, there's a lot of air space there. Alright, then the structure of the hair follicle, again, you got the epithelial root sheath, deepen at the end into a bulge. You got your stem cells that help to differentiate. You got your follicle growth center. You got your hair receptors or your nerve endings intertwined at the base around there of the hair bulb. Again, we talked about the erectile pili muscles that allow the dermis to stand up or when we get goosebumps. Texture of hair, again, it can be wavy, curly, or straight. Straight is round, wavy is oval, curly looks kind of flat. Brown to black, eumelanin in it. Red is phenomelanin. Blonde hair has an intermediate between eumelanin and pheomelanin, and gray and white, little or no melanin, a lot of air present in the medulla, like I stated in the previous slide. So if you look at figure 6.8, it shows you a diagram of the different textures, and you see the medulla and the cortex and the cuticle of your hair. Anagen, catagen, and telogen. Anagen, the growth stage, the stem cells multiply. Again, 90% of our scalp follicles are present at this stage in time. Catagen, the generation stage, mitosis and the matrix stop. It begins, and the sheath cells below the buds begin to die off. Easily pulled out when you brush your hair. And the telogen is the resting stage. It reaches the bulb, and we're trying to get ready to start over with the androgen stage again. So figure 6.9 is just a schematic of what I just stated. Okay, we lose about 50 to 100 hairs daily. Club hair may fall out during catagen and telogen stages. In adults, the scalp follicles spend about 6 to 8 years in the anagen stage, 2 to 3 in the catagen, and about 2 months maximum in the telogen stage. Pattern baldness is a sex-linked trait. It's more dominant in males than females. Testosterone can cause the terminal hair on the top of the scalp to be replaced by that villous hair. Hirsutism is excessively or undesirable hairiness that inherits that usually do not. Like sometimes you see the bearded lady. Alright, what's the function of hair again? It helps to keep from losing heat. We got receptors that if we have something crawling us, we know. Axillary pubic hair transmits sex scents for attraction. Fabrice guard hairs in our nostrils and our ear canal to keep things from getting in that can cause problems. And again, our eyebrows and our eyelashes. Women arch them all the time, or they put on fake eyelashes. It's a means of communication. Alright, function of our nails. Again, you got grooming, picking apart food, manipulation. The plate helps to protect the underlying nail bed. It's made up of hard keratin or dead cells. A lot of times we can do a diagnostic test where we take the hand and we put pressure on the nail and we hold it till it blanches, and then we turn it loose. And we count how long it takes to turn pink again. This gives our capillary refill time. And the quicker it returns, the better the circulation. The longer it takes, then we know we can have poor circulation. So the nail body, that's the visible part that's attached to the nail bed. And the root is under the skin of the eponychial fold. So again, figure 610 shows you anatomy. Now look at There's not a lot of skin there, and the phalanx is right under the nail. So a lot of times when we stump our toe in the middle of the night, or we drop something heavy on our fingers, those bones are easily crushed and cracked. Alright, you got your nail fold. It surrounds the skin rising above the nail. The groove, it separates the fold, the bed, the underlying pink layer. You got the eponychium, epidermis of the nail bed. You got your nail matrix or your growth zone, and this is what produces the nail to grow. If you damage the growth plate, then that allows nails that can grow, deform, or thicken from that standpoint. Or sometimes if you hurt it real bad, the nail will fall off and then it'll grow back, but sometimes it may grow back normal or it may grow back deformed. And you got your cuticle. This is the overhanging proximal end of the nail. Alright, let's look at our glands. Alright, you got your cutaneous gland, you got your Merrican, your sweat, your apical, your sebaceous, your ruminous in the ear, and your mammary glands. Alright, apical, groin, axillary, areola, they don't become active until you reach puberty. Again, sweat, milk, fatty acids, sexual stimulation or pheromone, and bromohydrosis, body odor, a lot of times produced by excessive bacteria on the skin. American, again, about 3 to 4 million of these on adult skin, palm, soles, forehead, watery perspiration. It helps to cool us down. Again, your myofibrillary cells on the sympathetic nervous system. We get excited, we get agitated, we sweat. These are things that fight or flight. Alright, again, sweat gland, we lose sweat through diaphoresis, sweating with wetness on the skin. Insensible perspiration does not necessarily produce visible that we can see. You got acid mantle in it to help destroy bacterial cells. The pH is anywhere from 4 to 6, so it's a little acidic. And again, on the average, it's 99% water. You got some sodium chloride that's going to sweat sometimes. Taste salty when it gets in your mouth. Sebaceous glands, sebum, oil secretion on the skin, lanolin, sheep sebum, they help moisten the skin. So ruminous earwax, again, it protects the eardrum, it waterproofs it, and it helps to kill bacterial microorganisms. Mammary, again, modified apical glands, they are released through ducts that we talked about a couple of chapters ago through the openings in the nipples. You got mammary ridges or milk lines. Again, primates kept only 2 glands, but a few polyphilia, they have many nipples. Alright, just learn the table 6.2 kind of breaks down your cutaneous glands. Alright, let's look at some disorders. Again, skin cancer, ultraviolet rays, most often head, neck, and hands, most common in fair skin. Basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell, and malignant melanoma. Out of the 3, malignant is the most dangerous, and survival rate is like 5%. Alright, basal cell carcinoma is normally begins in the stratum basilar, shiny bump, depression that you can see. Lesions are kind of small. It's around the hairline of the, like where you have your sideburns at. Squamous cell, you can see it, scalp, ears, lower lip, back of the hand. It can metastasize to the lymph nodes, can be lethal if it's not detected and surgically removed. This is a malignant melanoma. If the size of it, the darkness of it is raised, again, if you have been exposed to risk factors in your family, sunburn as a child, you're at greater risk. Alright, burns, first, second, and third degree. First degree, only the epidermis. Second degree, partial thickness involves epidermis, part of the dermis. Third is full thickness burn. It can be down to the hypodermis. So again, redness, slight edema, pain, heals in a couple of days. So sometimes you get little blisters that are painful. With second degree, third degree, you normally need a skin graft. A lot of times you need fluid replacement, high risk of infection. But the most common cause of death is not through infection, but hypovolemic fluid volume loss. Alright, these are just some pictures of the degrees of sunburn first, second, and third. Alright, again, sunscreen helps to protect us. It has chemicals in sunscreen that can damage DNA and degrade harmful free radicals. To help, number one, you want to help it to try to protect us against the ultraviolet rays. Alright, third-degree autograft is taken from another location on that person's body. A temporal graft, immunosystem rejection, a allo or homograft can be from an unrelated person, heterograft from another species like amniotic fluid or an artificial skin, silicone, or collagen. Alright, this ends chapter 6 lecture. We will upload it in the Blackboard, and please review this prior to coming to class on tomorrow.